Well, hello everyone and welcome to my review of the 2023 Lexus RX350. Believe it or not, we are now in the 5th generation of this mid-size premium crossover, the Radiant crossover as what bears its initials. And more than ever, this feels like a real premium product from Lexus, maybe even more so than the six-figure LS that I've tested out. This feels like Lexus has been able to really go and tear apart their main competition, BMW X5, Mercedes GLE, Audi Q7 and Q8. And this to me feels like the most premium Lexus ever. There's been a fair amount of changes for powertrain options, and really from the exterior design might be a little bit evolutionary. Interior design, quite different though. The 5th generation product is lighter, more rigid, has a longer wheelbase but retains the same overall length of the model it replaces. Let's first start off with the things that I like with the RX350. First of all, this is a very quiet cabin, impeccably made as you'd expect out of a Lexus, but driving down the highway at 110 kilometers an hour on these 21-inch wheels sounds like you're in an EV. It's that refined of a product in here, and the impeccable build quality, like I said, means that we have experienced absolutely no rattles or squeaks. Nothing feels misaligned, nothing feels like it was done haphazardly. All of the technology inside so far has been quite seamless, and it offers enough interesting materials that even though we're in a black cabin, and typically that means stale and dull, different textures and different shades of black, that all of these different components put together makes it feel like quite an exotic space. Storage space isn't brilliant for a mid-size SUV. I don't think the door pockets are particularly large. We do have a good amount of space here in the center console with 2 cup holders, and everybody loves the feature of the double-sided hinged center console. That seems to win favors, but we don't have a space for sunglasses. We kind of got a shelving unit along the very plush, very deeply padded soft plastics, but maybe in a mid-size SUV I would expect more. Other things, I know a lot of people don't really care for the touchscreen controls for your climate system. The nice thing about this though is that they're permanent. They don't ever go away, and the reaction of the system, in my experience, has been very quick, flawless, and really very easy to learn. For second row comfort, it is a mid-size SUV with electrically reclining seats, and that means that for me, being 6'4", I can very easily sit behind myself with absolutely no issues. The seats will recline by themselves if you do a long enough press, but just the little transition to lean back the seat for passengers for a little more of a relaxing position, you have to hold that button down for. So just be conscious of that. Of course, being a mid-size, very sizable boot, underneath the false floor, you do have a space saver spare wheel. Quite happy to see that. And the RX for this generation does come in 3 different powertrains. One, this 2.4 litre turbocharged engine, and 2 hybrid motors and 2 hybrid options. With the hybrids and with this 2.4 litre engine, the storage space inside is exactly the same. So let's now actually talk about the powertrain. New for this 5th generation of RX is a 2.4 litre turbocharged 4-cylinder engine. It produces 275 horsepower and 317 pound-feet of torque, which is less horsepower than the V6, but about 20 more pound-feet of torque than that same 3.5 litre naturally aspirated V6. My biggest complaint with this product so far is that it just doesn't feel quick. It feels like it needs more torque off of the line, and I know the attitude and the mission for this product is to be as refined, as relaxed as possible, and it's very good at achieving that. But when pretty much all of its competitors have a 6-cylinder of some kind and horsepower figures starting in the 300s, it feels like this Lexus is just a touch behind in that department. But mated with its 8-speed transmission, and here with its front-wheel drive bias 4-wheel drive system, This is a kind of driving feel that lowers your heart rate, gets you relaxed. And really, if you're buying a product more than just A to B transportation, you want it to do something a little more than that, I think this RX350 is doing an exemplary job. Steering is light but very consistent. The brake feel is close to perfect, and even though the visibility might be a little bit tight on the 3 rear quarter angle, I don't think it's at all difficult to drive. Here in this top spec executive model, the seats are nice and comfortable, the leather on the steering wheel is deeply padded, and I feel like I've got more than enough space here in the foot box, padded leather here by my knees. Life's good. So let's quickly wrap up this review by talking about the exterior design, because in truth it hasn't changed that much from the 4th generation. Yes, they are different, but the philosophies aren't that dissimilar. I don't quite like what they've done with the grille, with this new painted plastic portion above the main intake. In a car like this on red, it works, but if you were to go to option a white one, it just looks like it's got a bit of a droopy front lip. It looks quite odd, and it looks even more odd in the upcoming TX, which is the 3-row mid-size SUV from Lexus. They're no longer going to be making the RXL. Maybe the brand naming was just a little bit too difficult for people to understand. And outside of that run, I think the Lexus RX overall is a great looking product, quite stately, but not so over-designed that Lexuses of previous generations have been, where you almost feel insulted looking at it from certain angles. So there we have it. Not the longest and most deeply rooted review I think I've ever put on this channel, but this is a product that just gets the job done. And if you like the way it looks, if you can tolerate the touchscreen controls, this is the kind of vehicle that feels like it, more than anything else, is a premium product at an appropriate price. I think in years past, Lexus has undercut the competition by a few $1,000s, $10,000, but it felt like there was a sacrifice made in there. Maybe it wasn't quite as quiet inside, maybe the leathers weren't as rich. But in this generation, I feel like the Germans and other premium manufacturers really have something to worry about. So that's why if I was going to be shopping for a relaxing 2-row mid-size SUV, I would be putting the new RX at the top of my list. So thank you very much for taking the time to watching this video, and I hope to see you again on the channel soon.